Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, feds and degenerates, cuckolds of all ages. It is that time once again, a couple minutes early, but we're right here pretty close to 6 p.m. Central, Wednesday, April 10th, 2024. And you are locked into Mild's Culture Plate. Welcome, everybody. We have an interesting show for you today. First off, we have a shit ton of things to get into. I want to play kind of a few longer clips, and I have some plans right after the show. So we'll be trying to stick to the 1 hour mark if we can. Well, 1 hour and 2 minutes, whatever, 3 minutes mark if we can. And also, I will not be drinking whiskey tonight. I'm so sorry, folks. I know it's a beloved part of the show. I know it gets me going and gets me ranting, and it makes for a more entertaining show, but I'm going to try my best to keep with the hot personality. I just hopped out of the shower. I'm drinking water, so feel free to come in, say hi. I'll still give you a shout out. I'll still show your chats on screen, etc., etc. So cheers and welcome anybody that's out there. Like I said, feel free to come on in and say hello. So we have an interesting show for you today. We are going to be covering, as you could probably tell by the title of this stream, we're going to be covering some of the media narratives surrounding the Romeo and Juliet play and the casting decisions. I'm sure you have seen some of it. We'll be covering some other media narratives that just seem to be completely incorrect. And but first, oh, hey, we got Sanglan86 saying bah humbug. I'm assuming because of the no whiskey. Cheers. Welcome, brother. Good seeing you out there. But anyway, before we get into any of those topics, let's get into the New York Times. Oh my lord. You know what? I just realized I'm not streaming through OBS. Oh my god. Okay, so we've got 3 people shot at a Philadelphia event marking the end of Ramadan after rival gangs exchange gunfire. Now let's watch this little Fox News clip they have in the New York Post.
Right now, and some troubling news to tell you. News of a shooting reported at 46th and Wyalusing in northwest Philly. A report of a number of people shot, 4 guns recovered. 1 police officer reportedly discharged a weapon. This was, Sandra, apparently at a Ramadan event celebrating the end of Ramadan. Today is Eid al-Fitr, which celebrates the end of Ramadan. And now we have this incident in Philadelphia.
And hundreds were in attendance, we are told. A Philadelphia police officer also had to fire a weapon. Numerous arrests have been made. And as you just mentioned, John, 4 guns recovered, multiple people shot. So we're efforting more of an update on this story. These are live images just in, John.
Yeah, this is a celebratory day for Muslims across America, marking the end of Ramadan. Wow. And now it's potentially turned to tragedy here in Philly. We don't have any word on the condition of.
Okay, so let's go ahead and close that. Yeah, 3 people were shot when rival gangs opened fire. 1,000 people, including families and children, believed to have been at the outdoor event. At least 1 police officer fired their weapon during the incident. Around 30 gunshots erupted around 2:30. There appear to be 2 factions within the park who were exchanging gunfire, said the police commissioner Kevin Bethel. One of the people one of the people shot was a juvenile who pulled out a gun at the Masjid Mosque and Sister Clara Muhammad School. Police shot the 15-year-old twice when he wouldn't drop the weapon. One of the victims, also a juvenile, was an innocent bystander celebrating the event. Police said he showed up at the hospital after the incident with a gunshot wound to the hand. The other victim sustained a gunshot wound to his stomach during the gunfight, indicating that the individual may have been involved in the chaos. All are expected to survive, but homicide police are investigating the incident because of the magnitude of the situation. 5 people have been arrested so far, including the 15-year-old boy who was shot in the shoulder and leg by a responding police officer when he refused to drop the gun. The officer grabbed the teen and put him in her patrol car, which she immediately rushed to a local hospital. Thank you to Fox 29 for some of that. 3 males and a female were grabbed when they tried to flee the scene. 4 weapons were recovered from the group, including a gun from a teenager. Police had a detail for the event that was handing out parking tickets when the gunfire erupted. Sangland says Shia and Shiite. Yeah, perhaps. It's pretty sad that, this comes after, here, you know, in the Midwest, we had the Kansas City Super Bowl parade be shot up. You can't celebrate anymore without these people shooting each other. So in a little bit lighter news, the dailymail.com is reporting that we now have the 5 best looking pairs of breasts according to men and women. And the size is not the be all end all. The ideal Okay, so hang on, I got to make sure I don't scroll down. The ideal breast size and shape have been revealed in a new study, and size is not the most important factor. Okay, this is sus. Researchers asked around 1,000 men and women to score pictures of more than 24 breasts. They found that they found those that were moderately sized and had more volume in the area above the nipples scored highest. Nipples that were closer together also scored high, as did perky breasts, but size and symmetry did not appear to be crucial. Okay, so you ready to see the images? Okay, here we go. Hopefully, we're still going to be live on YouTube in a minute. Yeah, I'm calling sus on number 3 and 5. I am calling sus on number 3 and 5. Okay, I'll bring that back down in case y'all have children walking past your offices or looking over your shoulders. Okay, so here we go. From the study, researchers from New York University used images of breasts of women who had surgery consultations between 2009 and 2019. These individuals were all 47 years old. Well, there you go. And most likely had not had previously undergone any breast enhancement. These images were then shown to 1,021 people, 52, here we go, 52% of whom were women. Yep, yep, no wonder. They're the ones who picked number 3 and 5. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. Participants were asked to score the breasts from 1 to 5 based on their perception of attractiveness, blah, blah, blah. The 5 breasts had an average volume of 300 centimeters cubed. It was notable that the top 2 images for attractiveness did not have symmetrical breasts. Oh, okay, so there we go. The study was published by the journal Plastic and Reconstructive Surgery Global Open. Oh, here we go. Limitations of the studies include that it looked from ratings from both men and women, and that it did not include the full range of breast sizes and shapes. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, yeah, I skipped something. Okay, here we go. Moderately sized compared to the other breasts. Yeah. TMF Squid in the chat over on Rumble. Welcome, brother. Cheers. Good seeing you. Perky boobs that are symmetrical and nipples pointed to the sky are best. Kind of like the pear shaped with the round and then coming upward to a point. Yeah. Those are pretty nice. You see those a lot in magazines and stuff. Yeah, y- I really don't have a favorite. I just know that number 3 and number 5 in those images were just not that good. They were very small and almost, well, number 3, should I look back at it? Because I don't wanna, like I said, if y'all have children or people going by, I'm not trying to show y'all porn. Number 3 kinda looked like a man. I mean, feel free to check out the Daily Mail, I won't bring it up. Okay, so if you've been anywhere on conservative or entertainment internet, you're already aware of this next story. So over the last couple weeks, there's been some talk about this Romeo and Juliet play, stage play, starring Tom Holland and Francesca Emawuda Rivers. Well, here we go. The last couple days, the narrative has taken a turn. Here we go. TMF Squid. The women only liked the ugly boobs so they can feel better about themselves. They hate women that are physically better than them. Um, yes. And at the same time, they want to make ugly chicks think they're beautiful to keep competition down. Okay, so we have Vibe via Yahoo Entertainment here. Romeo and Juliet star Francesca Emawuda Rivers faces racist backlash over role. Actress Francesca Emawuda Rivers has been the target of racist insults and harassment since being announced as Juliet in the pending stage play Romeo and Juliet, starring Tom Holland. Sharing a social media post announcing her casting, the actress's comments were filled with hateful remarks from users suggesting she was not fit for the role, as well as some fans uplifting and supporting the actress amid the backlash. The ability to leave a message on the post as well as a secondary upload was eventually disabled since the vitriol on Instagram. The Jamie Lloyd production company behind the revival has issued a statement regarding the treatment of Emawuda Rivers. Okay, so here's the thing. You see the bait and switch here? Do you see the bait and switch? Users suggesting she was not fit for the role, right? No, nobody's saying, at least none of the people I have seen on either the Instagram post or on X, none of the criticism has anything to do with the color of her skin or the heritage she brings to it. It has to do with her attractiveness. When you hear of a Shakespearean love story, when you hear of any love story put out by Broadway, Hollywood, the people want attractive actresses. What I have seen is that she look like a man, right? But this is the thing. In the age of all the transgender LGBTQIA $+ you can't really point out, if you're Vibe magazine or if you're the Jamie Lloyd production company, you can't really point out being gender bendy, right? As a hindrance. So just change it and say they were criticizing her for being black. Following the announcement, uh, there's been a barrage of deplorable racial abuse online directed toward a member of our company. This must stop, shared the memo. We are working with a remarkable group of artists. We insist that they are free to create work without facing online harassment. Apparently, there's now been like a letter of support signed by like 500 black actors and actresses, all because of this. All because of this announcement. We continue to support and protect everyone in the company at all costs. Any abuse will not be tolerated and will be reported. Bullying and harassment have no place in our industry or our wider communities. Our rehearsal room is full of joy, compassion, and kindness. We celebrate the extraordinary talent of our incredible collaborators. Now, why would the Jamie Lloyd production company have any reason to lie about this? Well, here we go. According to the official website, the play's set to run from May 11th to August 3rd. Tickets are currently marked as sold out. Imagine that. Imagine that. Duke of York's Theatre in London is sold out for about 3 months after claiming that they're under attack, under a racist attack. The dollars came rolling in. And hit piece after hit piece about how evil the internet is. Ladies and gentlemen, nobody criticized her for being black. They criticized her because nobody buys the love story. Speaking of false media narratives, let's move on. Speaking of false media narratives, if you've been anywhere near the conservative space, you've been kind of loosely hearing about the Planet Fitness saga. Well, I've seen I've seen this story bounced around a few different places. Initially, I saw this was being reported on by Media Matters. Now, if you're in this upcoming story, now granted, we've seen this story around conservative internet, especially libs of TikTok, and we're going to be talking about libs of TikTok a couple times during this show. But Media Matters has had a hard on for libs of TikTok for quite some time. And then for Media Matters, it was then bounced around to the LGBTQ rags on the internet. And now it's made its way to the New York Post. Planet Fitness hit with 28 bomb threats throughout the U.S. amid outrage over transgender woman shaving in girls' locker room. By Melissa Koenig. Don't harass this person, please. Nearly 30 Planet Fitness locations have received bomb threats since a customer was banned for raising concerns about a transgender gym goer shaving in the women's locker room, according to an investigation. Police have received reports of such bomb hoaxes in at least 28 gyms in 11 states, from Connecticut through Alaska, according to Media Matters. So Media Matters gets to peddle the narrative, and then it gets picked up by everyone else. Although no bombs were found, the threats have forced dozens of businesses to evacuate. TMF Quid says, I'm not saying she's ugly, but I'd sooner stare at Medusa than take one more look at her. Exactly. Sanglant says, shaving what? They was shaving they's face. The first Planet Fitness target known to be targeted was Fairbanks, Alaska, where Patricia Silva was suspended for taking a photo of someone shaving in the women's locker room. Silva also shared her horror in a video posted on March 13th, saying she raised the alarm because she felt unsafe seeing a transgender person with a penis near a girl who could have been 12 years old in a towel, kind of freaked out that there's a man shaving in the locker room. 2 days later, multiple businesses received an email stating that bombs were placed inside the Planet Fitness. KTAVF reports the email stated there was an intention to blow up the building, but police did not find anything and soon ruled the threat to be bogus. Huh. Interesting. So this again, so they keep sourcing Media Matters as the source of this. Well, what happens if we click this Media Matters here? Oh, look at this. Bomb threats follow lib of TikTok's campaign against Planet Fitness. Oh, it's libs of TikTok's fault. Oh, look, we got a libs of TikTok timeline. Yeah. Fuck off, Media Matters. Oh, fuck, folks. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Okay, let's do this. I haven't really watched much of this. Let's watch it on 2x speed or 1.5 speed. This is a 7-minute video from Sound Investigations, where they did a hidden camera, right? So if you're familiar with James O'Keefe, formerly of Project Veritas, he does a lot of this, and Sound Investigations, they've been doing this for a while too, where you have hidden camera, where they basically set people up, they ask them interesting questions, they have conversations with them, and then they spill the beans. So here we have a CIA officer interacting with a Sound Investigations journalist. And let's hear what they had to say. God bless the journalists.
Well, if you know what to do. How? Does the Bureau practice entrapment a lot? We get really close.
Does the FBI
a nudge.
practice entrapment?
Mm.
Does the FBI practice entrapment a lot? We get close, a nudge.
You just gotta give them a quick look just to see what happens. Sometimes you like fuse and just wait for it to follow. That's what putting up a big social media thing to like really get people mad. Yeah, so we were after him. You are? We did what we wanted.
Which is what?
Took his money away. Capital slice.
Gavin O'Glennis is a contracting officer at the CIA. O'Glennis worked for the FBI in 2021 and 2022 in the San Diego office, moved on to Homeland Security where he conducted asylum interviews at the southern border, and now works for the CIA managing multi-million-dollar contracts across government agencies and private sector vendors.
Wow. FBI into the CIA.
I'm not supposed to tell people kind of job. If I say intelligence, what do you think? CIA? Yep. You work for the CIA? I do. That's incredible. Contracting officer.
Amazing.
So I deal a lot with like different agencies. We're contracting with like Director of National Intelligence to do stuff. We do Navy, Army, any of them really. I just FBI.
I'm not going to tell people who I work for, but you can guess if I use the key word, right? These people.
He's working for the FBI, so they're through the FBI. They're like, here, you used to work there. Oh, I'm permanent. So, yeah. Good. Well, why do they call it contracting? Because I do the contracts for them. I do all the legal contracts. I fly out to vendors and evaluate them. I love the agency. Good for you. I like the Bureau, too. The Bureau was a lot of fun. I got to do a lot of cool stuff with the Bureau.
Okay,
So
here's the sus thing, right? So whenever I watch videos from James O'Keefe, which we got one of those coming up as well, heads up. Whenever I watch videos from James O'Keefe or Sound Investigations, the first thing I think is this person playing up what they're doing for social clout? You know, are they making their jobs, are they lying to make their job seem cooler than it really is? And the first red flag I see here is that he was talking about entrapment, he was talking about all this, but then he says he farms out contracts. So it sounds like he kind of works in a procurement role where he deals with private contractors and you know, the boring money budget side of things, and he's not really part of these actual yeah, Singleton says for they are mentally slow and prone to lying. Yeah. But we'll see.
to an undercover sound investigations reporter about his work experience involving near entrapment and his employer's involvement with political commentator Alex Jones's legal battles.
As long as the Bureau is able to progress far enough to be able to put pro-lifers in jail whenever they want. Yeah. You think that's on the agenda? You can kind of put anyone in jail if you know what to do. How? You create the situation where they have no choice but to act on their impulse. Act on that impulse. Then we call that entrapment. It's a fine line. Does the Bureau practice entrapment a lot? Yeah, we get really close. Not officially. No. We get as close as we can. We get as close as we can to it without doing it. So they can entrap some of these pro-lifers into doing things that they don't. Yeah. We call it a nudge. A nudge. A nudge. Sometimes you start getting a quick look just to see what happens, right? And how does that happen? You put a post out there, or you have someone fake profile say something that triggers. Let me know.
So kind of like what we just saw in the other article about Planet Fitness.
Oh, sometimes you light the fuse and just wait for it to follow, right? Like a railing. Like so when a railing happens, that's sometimes the Bureau behind it. Yeah, sometimes. Nothing but a fake social media thing that really get people mad. Post fake news.
So again, like we were seeing with Planet Fitness, and we saw with the Lloyd production company running game over this race that, you don't even have to put out the receipts. You just put out there that something might be up, and then they do TMF Squid. That's because most of them are. I mean, the guy's on a date with a guy right now.
Sometimes it's not fake. It's embellished a little bit. Who would be like a big influencer that you're after? You're like I don't even know these names, like a Fox News person or like a Tucker Carlson or like, I'm sure he is. Right. The argument the biggest and loudest. Like that, what was his name? The one that said Sandy Hook didn't happen. Yeah, so we were after him. You are? Are you still after him? Why? Because he's broke. He got found guilty and had to pay like $100 million. So why were you after him? We're not anymore. Just to get the money from him? Yeah. Was that court case used? Was that CIA? Sure was. That was agency? Well, actually, it was a defamation case. So it's a civil government. But we were looking at all of his followers, commenting, following like, I can make this too, right? So even though it's technically not not the agency, definitely, but the Bureau, for instance.
No, you create a narrative.
It's a civil matter.
Now remember, the Alex Jones thing all started with a hit piece on NBC. I mean, granted, it started with all the Sandy Hook stuff, but NBC, years after Sandy Hook, NBC decided to, do this whole interview where they made this big deal about it.
Got all this access to his stuff, and it's there. What can we go find? And did you find it? I can't tell you. We did. But so it's just kind of like realize the opportunity that you have. So with Alex Jones, you were watching him long before anything ended up happening.
You see, this is why I think he's like half fucking lying. Now, granted, if you watched, let's see, Steven Crowder today, Louder with Crowder, did an interview with Alex Jones about this interview here, and there was some kind of alluding to this possibly giving weight to some of Alex Jones's legal battles, that, he might be able to use this to fight back a little bit. But I think this guy's blowing smoke up our ass, frankly, because he's saying we had access to all his stuff, right? And, if you did, then there's a lot juicier stuff than this.
It wasn't my office, but we would have been well aware of what he was doing. And the goal with him was what? Just to bankrupt him? Oh, pretty much. And we let the families do it. And what? We let the families do it. Were they encouraged to do that by the Bureau? Like a nudge? We don't encourage people, but we just say there's no federal statute being broken, but you do have the option for a civil case. It's a pretty good case. Nice. In our opinion. So, that makes so much sense. I have a cousin who's a lawyer, so that's a lot of these cases. They're kind of encouraged by the FBI. Yeah, there's nothing federal law we can do.
Okay, but I mean, literally, an FBI agent was part of the lawsuit against Alex Jones.
We still let him know. And they did. So the FBI was happy. We didn't care. We were like, oh. Basically, the citizens did your job. Wow, so you can encourage a civil lawsuit. Not encourage, educate. What can you do with people like Alex Jones now? Is he still out? He's still chirping. He's chirp. You still watching? Why? I did what we wanted. Which is what? Took his money away. We shut him up for a while. You're never going to shut him up. How much you put him in prison? Again, he didn't do anything about prison. Being ignorant is not a crime, coach. It is. I mean, you could bring a gun. He did inside a riot, like Cheeto. He didn't.
TMF Squid says, I wouldn't be surprised if this metrosexual is a plant to F with people. Maybe they're learning how to not go on dates with James O'Keefe. Well, yeah, except we have that video coming up later. Although that wasn't O'Keefe himself. There's a female plant on that one. But at the same time, you would think they would learn. But here's the thing. This gentleman's LinkedIn and Facebook and all that has since been scrubbed for the internet. Like, he's gone from the internet since this went public. So you would think they would have some sort of backup for this guy or some sort of backup plan. I mean, it sounds like his career's over, but who knows? I mean, it's the CIA. They can they can turn him into a crisis actor somewhere else.
People to go shoot people. So he didn't
Give him a different name.
Additionally, O'Glennis states that he knows and works with FBI agents who were undercover in the January 6th Capitol riot, estimating about 20 field agents were there undercover. While
Oh, look at
O'Glennis
that.
notes that they were not involved in violence, this appears to be the first admission of undercover FBI agents in attendance.
I thought you said that there were FBI agents in the crowd at J6. There always are when there's a big protest in DC, just in case it gets out of hand. Like, there wasn't enough to turn anti. I mean, I'm talking. They maybe have 20. You needed 1,000 to get rid of that crowd. So they had like, that was just 20? Yeah, just go through the third, see what they can hear, that kind of thing.
See, this is another red flag for me that I think he's bullshitting. Because, I mean, in my opinion, in my personal opinion, I think that if you have plants in that crowd, they weren't plants in the crowd to make them go away. They were plants in the crowd to make them look bad. Yes. Excuse me.
Wow. Yeah, definitely. They need 1,000 at least. Wow. That's also Capitol Police jurisdiction. They're in charge. So why they didn't have more on hand, I don't know. The Bureau didn't really want people knowing that they were in the crowd. Mm-hmm. That would be overstepping their bounds. A little bit. Do people know that? What? Do people know that the Bureau was in the crowd? Nope, you probably never will. You know agents that were there? Mm-hmm. Really? Yeah. So what's the agency now?
Oh, okay. All right. So there's that. There's that video. Pretty fun stuff. So, yeah. So Alex Jones under attack. You have President Trump under attack all over the place. You have, I've kind of loosely seen bits and pieces of this next story. Let's dip into it because I really don't know what to make of this just yet. But this came out from Wired today. Now, I don't fucking trust Wired as far as I can throw them. But the hacking lawsuit looming over Truth Social, aka Trump Media. The founding CEO of DWAC has accused his former assistant of hacking into his accounts as part of a coup d'etat, the latest legal mess for Truth Social. A board member of Trump Media has been accused of hacking one of the executives that helped bring the firm public as part of a coup attempt, according to a lawsuit in the Southern District of Florida. Trump Media became a publicly traded company last month when it merged with Digital World Acquisition Corp., a special purpose acquisition company. DWAC was first led by Patrick Orlando, one of the original architects of the deal to take Truth Social public. Orlando was fired in March 2023 after that deal was delayed and replaced immediately by Eric Swider. That ouster is the focus of the lawsuit, which is filed in March of this year by a company Orlando controls called Benisari Investment Group. In its lawsuit, Benisari claims that Swider, who served as CEO from March 2023 to March 2024 and currently sits on Trump Media's board of directors, plotted a coup d'etat in order to oust Orlando as the CEO of DWAC. Benisari alleges that defendants and co-conspirators stole access to plaintiffs' computer systems and files and used the stolen information to attack Benisari and ARC2 managing member Patrick Orlando as part of, quote, an audacious scheme to seize control of and enlarge their holdings in a publicly traded company poised to merge with Trump Media and Technology Corp. ARC 2 refers to ARC Global Investments 2, a fund organized by Orlando which provided financing to take Truth Social public. This lawsuit's the latest development in legal acrimony between some original employees of various companies associated with Truth Social, the people who have managed to stick around, and former President Donald Trump himself. Even before Truth Social officially launched in 2022, DWAC was beset by investigative probes, insider trading, and petty infighting. The company, which began trading publicly last month, is valued at over $5 billion despite reporting over $4 million in revenue in 2023. This widely inflated valuation hangs over some of the recent lawsuits as early employees of the company stand to make millions of dollars if they manage to hold on to their shares. Okay, so without going through, this just gets even more long-winded. It sounds to me, now I could be completely wrong about this, but in the first reading of this and some of the other stuff about the legal messes of Truth Social, this sounds kind of like what happened to James O'Keefe over at Project Veritas. Only not. It sounds like literally you had someone going rogue, which they said James O'Keefe did. I don't buy that. But this sounds like someone going rogue and trying to influence what was going on, and the rest of the board. Yeah, maybe it was a coup d'etat. But I'm trying to understand why this is a lawsuit. Why it's hacking. Like if you're CEO, but yet the rest of the company decides, yeah, we're going to seize the digital assets of the company and utilize it to show that you're mismanaging the company and therefore oust you as CEO. That's literally you just got fired. I don't see how that's a lawsuit. Again, I could be wrong. Like I said, I'm not gonna TLDR. I'm not gonna read the whole thing. But Swider tried to take control of the two companies involved in the Truth Social deal, and to gain control, Swider sought to obtain confidential information about its investors. Okay, but again, if he was in the company, if he was part of the head, he was entitled to that. So again, this sounds like what they're doing to Trump. This sounds like what they've done to Alex Jones. It's lawfare. It's lawfare for anyone who dares challenge the establishment's control over speech. Now, having said that, folks, over the last week, we've had Elon Musk under attack in Brazil. I won't get too deep into it. But, the freedom of speech is dead in Brazil. But is from Elon Musk. X respects the laws of Brazil and all countries in which we operate. When given an order to break the law, we must refuse. Folks, so this, for more information on that story, Michael Schellenberger on Twitter. Now, again, I don't agree with Michael Schellenberger on a lot of things, but Michael Schellenberger on Twitter has a lot of deep dive into this battle between Elon Musk and Brazilian president. Damn, I'm forgetting his name. I'm trying to look it up here, but everything's in Portuguese here. It's President Alexandre. No, Alexandre was. I don't know. I'm having a brain fart, folks. Yeah, Alexandre Morales was the. No, that is him. Yeah. Fuck, I don't know. I did a deep dive on it, and I've since had a fucking brain fart. I don't know. Sorry, folks. I suck today. And I'm kind of a little wired. So let's go to this real quick. We're gonna get into some financial news now. Kansas City Chiefs superfan Chiefsaholic ordered to pay $10.8 million to bank teller. As part of the plea agreement, Michael Babudar must forfeit property, including an autographed painting of Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes that was recovered by the FBI. Now, if you don't remember this story, I think I may have covered it on this show, at least at one point. But he pled guilty in February to a string of robberies in banks and credit unions in multiple states. He remains imprisoned until his formal sentencing, which is July 10th in Kansas City. He so So you see the guy here dressed as a wolf. Now, if you're not familiar with the story, like he would attend Chiefs games in this costume and then proceeded to rob banks in this costume. And the internet was able to take the news reports of a bank robber wearing a wolf costume and connect that to this super fan in the stands at Kansas City Chiefs games. And so, yeah, busted robbing banks and spending money on Patrick Mahomes gear. Oh, folks. So there's that. Okay, and then we have this over at the New York Post. Demand for spam and canned meats, quote, on fire as relentless food inflation forces cash-strapped shoppers to scale back. Really? We're back at the canned meat. We're not quite at ramen noodle level, but we're at the canned meat level, folks. We're at the canned meat, folks. Demand for cheap canned meats like Spam and Vienna sausages is surging as cash-strapped shoppers look to stretch paychecks in the face of relentless food inflation, according to grocery executives. ConAgra said this week on its canned meat portfolio, which includes Armour, Vienna sausage, and Mammoth Sloppy Joe's, is on fire, according to a Reuters report. Miguel Garcia, who owns supermarkets in the Bronx under the Foodtown, Key Food, and Met Food Market brands, said his stores have started to showcase Spam, Libby's corned beef, and Chef Boyardee. Sales have leaped 10%. Spam is a regular item again, Garcia told the Post. I'm selling them at a discount now because I'm buying more. Well, hell yeah, there we go. The canned meat frenzy comes as grocery prices have spiked 21% in 3 years, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, with Republicans blaming Bidenomics for sapping paychecks even as pandemic era boosts to federal SNAP and WIC benefits expired. While price increases have lately slowed, they haven't reversed. In response, big food manufacturers from Kraft Heinz to Coca-Cola have been dangling discounts. In May, ConAgra will introduce a 6-pack of chicken patties that will cost $6.99, the company said. In the meantime, it's been running smaller, more frequent price cuts, according to Chief Executive Sean Connolly. We might invest to get below a key price threshold. It's, quote, a shallow discount, but something to make it provocative and therefore more effective. Garcia said his stores have dropped the price on a 12-ounce can of Spam from $4.99 to $4.99 from $6, while corned beef goes for $4.99 down from $6.99. Well, shit, $2 off, folks. Get your corned beef in a can if you're living in the Bronx. Our average sale was closer to $20 at the end of last year. Now it's about $15, he said. People are putting less expensive items in their carts. Elsewhere, grocery shoppers are resorting to eating peanut butter to get their protein and filling up on starches and carbs, food executives told Reuters. Sales of Andy Caps have been up by as much as 30%, while sunflower seed snacks like David Seeds are doing spectacular. That's not necessarily a good thing. According to Carlos Rodriguez, Chief Policy and Operation Officer at City Harvest, which distributes fresh food in NYC, people struggling to make ends meet are buying, quote, whatever's on the shelf that you can stretch longer and further to feed the many mouths that might be sitting around the table. They're, quote, foregoing items you normally want, which is fresh, nutritious food. Yeah, because those things can spoil and you can't afford to throw it away now. In 2022, roughly 1/3 of Black American households and 21% of white American households were considered low income, typically making roughly less than $35,000 a year, according to the latest census data. We expect reduced SNAP benefits will be a headwind, Dollar Tree CEO Richard Dreiling said during a March 13th earnings call. In February, Kellogg's chief executive Gary Pilnick sparked outrage after suggesting that struggling Americans could eat cereal for dinner to help their budgets. The cereal category has always been quite affordable, and it tends to be a great destination when consumers are under pressure. Cereal for dinner is something that is probably more on trend now. He was quickly excoriated for the insensitive remark on social media. Anything Kellogg's can do to make more money off people during times of crisis. I wonder what their CEO is having for dinner. Price hiking all day without a care, shame, shame, a user wrote to X. So, folks, are you eating more canned meat? Well, what are they doing about it? You ever wonder what they're doing about it? What's going on in the halls of the Federal Reserve? Well, they're not going to cut interest rates. They're going to save it for later as inflation stays hot. And the cuts that they had planned are going to be smaller. So we're going to prospects of a first Federal Reserve interest rate cut before the end of summer or even at all this year took a body blow on Wednesday with another U.S. inflation report that cast into stark relief the stickiness of price pressures in the U.S. economy. After months of centering on June for the start of Fed policy easing, traders' bets are now squarely on the Fed's mid-September meeting for an initial rate reduction after a third straight stronger than expected reading on consumer inflation sent financial markets into a fast retreat. So here's the thing. I've been trying to buy a car for about 4 years. I just cannot save enough money for a down payment to where with interest rates, my monthly payment won't be insane because interest rates are insane. But hey, they're going to keep that canned meat down to $4.99. You know, Biden needs to combat the inflation narrative. Okay, so let's go over to this O'Keefe thing. And let's see. I'm going to kind of jump into the middle here. Okay, here we go.
For the legacy, as somebody who held the line against like Trump.
In today's unpredictable world, it's all about being prepared for who knows what they have in store for the next pandemic. Our friends and supporters, the Wellness
1.5 speed here.
Prescription-based medical emergency kit that is
Researcher or economist? What's your title?
So I came here as a senior economist and now I'm a principal economist.
So you're now a principal economist.
Yeah. So right now I'm preparing for something. I'm gonna do a talk to the Fed board.
And what's your expertise? What's your specialty? Sorry.
I was a finance professor.
Meet Harel Hizmo. He's a principal economist working inside the Federal Reserve. Harel says he's a former finance professor and is called on as a subject matter expert to write speeches for Jerome Powell, the chairman of the Board of Governors.
So here we go.
The Federal Reserve is the central
he
banking
writes
system of the United States.
speeches for
The main
Jerome
duties include
Powell.
national monetary
We
policy,
just covered this
supervising and
Federal
regulating
Reserve
banks,
thing.
and maintaining financial
And I
stability.
did this
Our
back to
subject
back for a
disclosed
reason.
details in regards to his roles within the Federal Reserve.
I have to write a speech for him for Powell now. And then he put it all there.
So you write speeches for Powell.
So again, the question is, why is the Federal Reserve working so hard to keep interest rates up?
Helps to write speeches for him.
Yeah, like for certain paragraphs. So they get grilled by Congress on all kinds of different topics. And we have to prepare them.
We looked up the speech, and it was about the Federal Open Market Committee just a few weeks ago in March of 2024.
Today, the FOMC decided to leave our policy interest rate unchanged and to continue to reduce our securities holdings. Our restrictive stance of monetary policy has been putting downward pressure on economic activity and inflation. As labor market tightness has eased and progress on inflation has continued, the risks to achieving our employment and inflation goals are moving into better balance.
Arel talked about how he worked on the section of the speech regarding the Fed's portfolio.
By the way, after our last debate, I actually went and I watched the whole speech that he gave, Powell gave.
Oh my God.
Wait, I want to know, which section did you help him write?
I wrote a particular section. It's like the FOMC gathers, they make some decisions, and then we all get together and say, let's summarize this. And then it goes into like 5 different rounds of edits for different people. So like by the time, like if I'm working on like the Fed's saying ideas about like what are they going to do with say like what are they going to buy or what their portfolio side.
The FOMC, or Federal Open Market Committee, reviews economic and financial conditions, determines the appropriate stance of monetary policy, and assesses the risk to its long-term goals of price stability.
So the Fed has a portfolio of treasuries and debt. So anything that has to do with that, like I have to get involved. Is that right, Elaine?
Like you have to get involved in what way?
To that particular product? Well, in 2 ways. First, before they make the decision, they need to know what's happening and what, if they make the decision, that what
This is
could happen.
crazy.
Let me just use a non-Fed example because I'm just really worried that
Non-Fed example.
like stuff that's classified. Like I just don't.
Oh, okay.
So we just
Do you deal with classified stuff?
it's all classified.
Oh,
Right?
okay.
It's
Arel,
all-
principal economist at the Federal Reserve, states, quote, "It's all classified." Now, the Federal
Gotta
Reserve is known
love-
for its lack of transparency. It makes some of the most important policies that impact American finances and day-to-day lives of all Americans. Arel,
You gotta
principal
love the
economist for the Federal
unelected
Reserve, goes on to
bureaucrats
speak about Jerome Powell's relationship with
keeping
Donald
things
Trump.
behind closed doors.
It's a crazy person. It's very clear. I mean, he's a dumb guy. Like,
Oh, look.
What?
Trump is crazy and
I'm just
dumb.
like, what do you say about him? Like,
What?
the same thing as you say about Trump. You say like Trump is just weird. Like,
Weird or just stupid? No.
I'm a
Okay. So you're Biden, right? Like you support Biden?
I do.
Okay.
Like Trump hates him. Trump wanted to fire him. Like
Yeah.
he couldn't because it's
Does
independent.
he hate Trump? And like is the feeling mutual?
Of course.
Okay.
Yeah. So Trump
Oh,
nominated
imagine
him,
that.
Proved it.
Uh-huh.
And then as soon as he became chair, Trump wanted him to lower interest rates.
Uh-huh.
If we lower interest rates,
Right.
to stimulate the economy.
Yeah.
And Trump was president, he wanted to stimulate the economy.
Right.
But he wouldn't do it. And he started
Huh.
raising interest rates and doing the opposite of Trump wanted. Trump tried to find all
Yeah.
the loopholes to fire him. And
So
he
they don't get along.
Oh, imagine
So does
that.
he get along with Biden?
Imagine that.
He does. He's Biden administration.
Yeah.
Biden would want
Yeah.
interest rates to go lower.
Yep.
At the same time, he doesn't want inflation.
Okay.
Inflation is everybody's complaining
But
about
inflation is not really an issue anymore, is it?
Well, that's because we've been increasing rates for
Oh, look at that.
But you think inflation is still a problem for us right now?
Powell likes Biden.
not at the moment.
Biden
Arel
needs to
Gizmo, principal
combat
economist at the Federal Reserve,
inflation.
says Jerome Powell wants to go down in history as someone who, quote, held the line against Donald Trump, unquote.
He's doing it for the legacy. He wants to be remembered in history.
Wow.
You think he wants to be remembered for what he's done? He wants to go down in history.
Yeah.
As what?
As somebody who held the line against like Trump and like,
Yeah.
like helped the economy out of COVID, like drag
Uh-huh.
with under. I mean, it's pretty amazing we haven't had a recession. To be honest,
Right.
like COVID, like
Oh,
everything
yeah.
shut down, the economy just keep going up, the stock market's going up, like
So he wants to preserve his legacy as someone,
savior.
as a savior
This
for
is
America
insane.
and
This is
kept us out of
insane.
a recession
Yeah.
and fought against Trump.
and you know like there's all kinds of stuff that comes to his desk that says no.
So again,
This is gonna jeopardize.
again, you have to take into account the thing I said earlier, that these people are on dates and they're trying to impress these people. So they may inflate the importance of what they do. And they may lie about some of the details of what they do, but it makes sense. What this guy's saying makes sense. That Jerome Powell likes Biden and hates Trump. And so therefore, we're going to keep interest rates high. We're going to keep you from buying a home or buying a car, getting loans from the banks at a reasonable interest rate. Now, again, I hate inflation. I hate the fact that the inflation is a whole concept that exists because we have a Federal Reserve. I hate the Federal Reserve. I think there are better ways to run our economy, but the way it is either interest rates are going to be high or inflation is going to be high. Right now, we have a little bit of both. But if they lower interest rates, inflation's going to explode. But it's kind of like, well, it's medicine we're going to have to take one of these days. We're going to wait for it to creep up until it's so unaffordable in little doses that we can't survive, and then they'll explode us with a collapse. Is that the plan? Wait till another Trump is in office or another Republican is in office? And then explode the economy? No, just keep it to where, people cannot get an affordable loan until they get broke. When you could give us the poison now. Let us see the real inflation now behind the scenes. Because we're already feeling it in food. Our economic system is broken, folks. And they're about to pull the rug out from under us. And if Donald Trump becomes elected, I think this is going to be the hit job they do. A lot of people are talking about what would they do to Trump to keep him out of office. I think they've given up on keeping him out of office. I think they're going to wait till he gets into office and make the whole system collapse and then blame it on Donald Trump. They're propping up their Weekend at Bernie's puppet for now. But when the populists really get upset, they'll turn it. Our mainstream media will turn it on Donald Trump. And we heard the CIA guy earlier in the other hidden camera dating video admit to it all.
Legacy of the Fed, or my legacy is the chair.
Aurel Hismo speaks to how Jerome Powell doesn't want to create a recession during an election year.
He is slow rolling the solution, basically.
Well, because he doesn't want to create a recession.
Okay, so he knows how to fix it.
Well, he doesn't know, but like he doesn't want to make any. Like imagine you're a doctor and you're trying to like give somebody a dose or something. You give them a little bit to see how the body reacts. You give them a little more.
Yep.
So you can give them a big dose, but then they get huge side effects.
I see.
That's the worry. Like, the side effect is a recession because the economy can crash.
Right. And obviously he wouldn't want that.
It's going to crash anyway.
Right? Yeah.
Because the recession means people lose like their homes, people like lose their jobs.
Yeah.
People might die like from homelessness or like medical bills. Or, it's a big,
that's happening already.
Aurel Hismo, principal economist at the Federal Reserve, says
All that shit's happening already. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and bring that down because we're getting pretty close to the end of the show. We got 5 minutes left. And I did want to get into one last story here. But God bless James O'Keefe and his reporters. And God bless Sound Investigations from earlier. Okay, so let's get into the Gender Crazy of the Week segment. You folks ready for the Gender Crazy of the Week segment? All right, let's do this. So here we have a school teacher who decided to post a TikTok.
So I keep hanging these flags up, and then I come back, and someone's ripped the pole off or broken it in half. But look what someone wrote. Who even says that? It's okay if you have an opinion, but it's mine.
Come on, gay ass ninja.
I brought it in here. I hung it up.
Yeah, nobody cares. They didn't want to see it.
So I keep hanging these flags up, and then I come back, and someone's ripped the pole.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, look, we all have to deal with rowdy degenerates who are trying to get their way, right? So the next video happened in the Colorado legislature where, they have elected some transgender folks. Let's hear what happened on the floor here. Let's hear this.
Representative DeGraff. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to. It's Madam Chair. Thank you.
Oh shit! It's Madam. It is Madam. Oh, I have to see that again.
Representative DeGraff. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to. It's Madam Chair. Thank you. Thank you. I'd
That
like
is
to move
great.
I'd like to move J067 to House
He's
Bill
holding in his laugh.
1430 and ask that it be properly displayed.
He's holding in his laugh. That is amazing. So yeah, apparently that's Brianna Titone and Ken DeGraff. Ken DeGraff, you are a Chad, dude. I'm gonna follow you on Twitter now. That was amazing. That was amazing. Well, folks, I think that is just about all I can do today on Mild's Culture Plate. He should have dropped a mistress. Mistress chair. Man. So yeah, I've got an event to go to tonight. Again, my apologies for not giving you proper toasts with proper liquor. Probably still going to be drinking the Egans on the next program, which will be this Saturday, 6 p.m. Central, as it is every Saturday and Wednesday. I think I've pretty much decided against moving the show. I've had some talk with family and friends and people who I'd considered spending more time with, and realized that there were other ways of accomplishing that, and that instead Wednesdays and Saturdays work pretty well. I'm throwing around the idea of doing the big polyamory show tomorrow, so no promises yet, but keep an eye on all of the social media down in the description, and right here if you're subscribed on YouTube or Rumble or X, where I stream. I will be doing that if I do that tomorrow night. I'm not quite sure what the big plans are tomorrow night. I'm pretty sure I have tomorrow night free. If that holds out, then I will be doing the big polyamory stream tomorrow night. If not, you can catch me Saturday, 6 p.m. Central. Please take a moment, click that thumbs up button below, or a heart if you're on X. Click that like button. Really appreciate it. And if you're new here, please subscribe and consider sharing this with other people who might find this information a little entertaining. We'll definitely be doing the Love Does Admonish segment this Saturday. So you don't want to miss that. Make sure you have your notifications turned on if you're on YouTube and all of that goodness. Again, big thank you to Sanglant86 and TMF Squid for hanging out with me in the chat. And thank you to you folks out there watching. We've had a good number of viewers to the program today. And Sanglet says, see ya. And yes, you folks out there, take care of yourselves and each other. Outlast those haters. Don't get any on you. And if you do, rub that shit in real good. Catch you next time. Have a good night.